Muted.
Sorry, Prabhu. I'm just practicing the meter. Good. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhare Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachare Yamuna Tiravanachare Yamuna Tiravanachare Yamuna Tira Vanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhare Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamuna Tiravanachare Yamuna Tiravanachare Yamuna Tiravanachare Yamuna Tiravanachare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Shri Radhe Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Shri Radhe Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanang Namaskritam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirat Nashta Praishwa Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seva Bhagavatutama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and welcome to this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. It's good to see all the devotees, all our senior members of our community. You'll kindly give me your blessings so I may say something of benefit. Reading from Canto 7, The Science of God, Chapter 11, The Perfect Society, for social classes. We're reading the last text for this chapter. That's text 35. Yasya lakshanam proktam pungso varna bivyanjakam yadanyantrapi drishyeta tat te naiva vinirdishet. Yasya lakshanam proktam pungso varna bivyanjakam yad anyatrapi drishyeta tat te naiva vinirdishet. Yasya lakshanam proktam pungso varna bivyanjakam yadanyatrapi drishyeta tatte naiva vinirdishet. Would anyone like to try to read the verse?
Yasya lakshanam proktam pumso varna vivyanjakam yad anyatrapi drishyeta tat tenaiva vinirdishet.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anyone else?
Yasya lakshanam proktam pungsavarnabhivyanjakam yadanyatrapi drishyeta tattenaiva vinirdishet.
Thank you, Sachi.
Yasya lakshanam proktam pungso varnabhivyanjakam yad anyatrapi drishyeta tattenaiva vinirdishet.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yasya, of whom, yet, which, lakshanam, symptom, proktam, described above, pungsaha, of a person, varna abhivyanjakam, indicating the classification, brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, and shudra, etc. Yet, if, anyatra, elsewhere, api, also, drishyeta, is seen, that, tena, by that symptom, eva, certainly, vinirdishet, one should designate. Translation: if one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Sudra, as described above, even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Herein, it is clearly stated by Narada Muni that one should not be accepted as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra according to birth. For although this is going on, it is now accepted by the Shastras. It is not accepted by the Shastras. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4:13, Chaturvarnyam maya shishtam guna karma vibhagashaha. Thus, the four divisions of society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, are to be ascertained according to qualities and activities. If one was born in a Brahmana family and has acquired the Brahminical qualifications, he is to be accepted as a Brahmana. Otherwise, he should be considered a Brahma Bandhu. Similarly, if a Shudra acquires the qualities of a Brahmana, although he was born in a Shudra family, he is not a Shudra. Because he has developed the qualities of a Brahmana, he should be accepted as a Brahmana. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant to develop these Brahminical qualities. Regardless of the community in which one was born, if one develops the qualities of a Brahmana, he should be accepted as a Brahmana, and he then may be offered the order of sannyas. Unless one is qualified in terms of the Brahminical symptoms, one cannot take sannyas. In designating a person, a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, birth is not the essential symptom. This understanding is very important. Herein Narada Muni distinctly says that one may be accepted according to the caste of his birth, if he has the corresponding qualifications, but otherwise he should not. One who has attained the qualifications of a Brahmana, regardless of where he was born, should be accepted as a Brahmana. Similarly, if one has developed the qualities of a Shudra or Chandal, regardless of where he was born, he should be accepted in terms of those symptoms. Thus, in the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 7th canto, 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Perfect Society for Social Classes. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitan Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyate Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yasya Yalakshanam Proktam Pungso Varna Bivyanjakam Yadan Anyatrapi Drishyeta Tat Naiva Vinirdishet. If one shows the symptoms of being a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra, as described above, even if he has appeared in a different class, he should be accepted according to those symptoms of classification. So here, this is the mic drop of this chapter, that the spirit soul is separate from the body. So appearance in a specific social class is the designation of your physical body, the womb. In other words, the womb that you actually appeared in. Narada Muni, the spiritual master of the entire universe, is saying the same thing that the Supreme Lord, who appeared as Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago, says, that it all depends on the qualities. So in other words, Krishna's system of perfection, gradual perfection of Varnashram Dharma, is a perfect system. It's full of mercy. It's full of all opportunity. You need not be born with the silver spoon in your mouth. Krishna, in his Varnashram system, grants the opportunity for elevation to everyone. And that is how this chapter has arisen. Remember, in the beginning of this chapter, Yudhishthira Maharaj posed the question after hearing the great history of Prahlad Maharaj, that how can we actually become perfect, just like Prahlad Maharaj? That was basically the essence of the question. That now that we have heard about a little boy, a 5-year-old boy, who appeared to be the son of the greatest demon that has ever lived at that time and also in the future, a demon who had conquered the entire universe, the most ferocious and the most expert in control, so much so that he didn't need the assistance of the universal government of the Supreme Lord himself in the form of demigods. He didn't need it. He could actually rule over everything. So his Ishvara Bhava, to actually take over the post and replace the Lord, so intense it was, so intense this demoniac Ishvara Bhava was, and he demonstrated it through his achievements. The son of such a person became the greatest devotee at only 5 years old. So Yudhishthira Maharaj is posing this question, basically saying that obviously this was the arrangement of the Lord to inspire all of us, that despite whatever body we may be in, can the spirit soul attain to this perfection of pure devotional service? Yeah. And so the history of Prahlad Maharaj, the description in this chapter, what Narada Muni is saying is precisely that there's no hindrance to actually attaining to perfection. Here in the purport, Prabhupada is saying that so by qualification, by one's activities, one can elevate themselves to the level of Brahmana. And that is the becoming a Brahmana is a prerequisite to taking sannyas. And sannyas is the topmost achievement that a spirit soul can have in the human form of life. To actually become a kinchana, to give up everything so that you can serve the Lord with your body, mind, and words. And we know in devotional service, and indeed we've spoken about this last week as well, citing the talks between Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that even if one doesn't formally take sannyas, they can also achieve this perfection. It's available in devotional service. But within the social conventions of Varnashram Dharma, so if you're in a body of a woman and you can't take sannyas, still you can actually become a kinchana. And that opportunity is available to all spirit souls. So here, Prabhupada citing Chaturvanya Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So if a society, if a political system is molded around this Chaturvanya Maya Shrishtam, then it can actually get the benefit of this perfect system. So the point is that people are appearing in wombs, so spirit souls are appearing in various wombs according to the qualities that they've acquired from the three modes of material nature. So if one is demonstrating the symptoms of being an intellectual, then they should actually be accepted as such. Yeah. So the point here is that everything will actually be based on truth. So as we know, the last leg of Dharma is truthfulness. And Dharma or religion personified, that's what's standing. And we can see in modern society, even though this Chaturvarnya Shrishtam isn't the basis of our modern political systems, modern political system that we find ourselves in, still water is seeking its own level. That you're having podcasters who, if they are dedicated to the truth, they can do their own investigations and they become quite popular, just speaking out the truth, speaking out against the atrocities that are being conducted by various, shall we say, government intelligence agencies. Speaking out against how we're actually living in a matrix of illusion. So how our various politicians are telling us one thing, but by their policies, by their different actions in foreign nations, they're doing the opposite. So such persons, them gaining popularity is based on the truth. Yes, so the truth, it's always attractive. So if we are getting information, if we are being taught by persons who are not bought out by corporations, then such persons actually are attractive all the time. Yeah. So, and this was the symptom of a Brahmana. So Prabhupada, Krishna even, he describes the symptoms of a Brahmana, and even Prabhupada enunciates it further, that the Brahmanas, their livelihood, they wouldn't accept an income. And this is actually very important, is that the compass of society, the people who are learned, who teach the children, who set the direction in which everybody should structure their life around, they shouldn't be bought out by corporate interests, by business people. In other words, they shouldn't be controlled by something else other than the truth itself. And the truth itself is knowledge. It's coming from the Shastra. So they shouldn't be controlled by being blackmailed through either children, blackmailed through them being involved in, they had something in their past and now they're trying to hide it. They shouldn't be blackmailed by money, by their belly, honey traps, nothing. They shouldn't be controlled by their senses. They should just be controlled by the truth. And the controlling potency of the truth is not one of psychological manipulation, but it's one of attraction. So the truth is self-luminous. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is Bhakta Vatsala. He takes care of his devotees as a cow takes care of its calf. Krishna, he created the perfect social system, and he's giving everybody, all his sons, daughters, his pets, everybody, never mind whatever body they're in, a chance to perfection. Krishna, he enables souls who are even on the verge of perfection, and then they get into the body of a deer, they can also hear Bhagavatam, like Maharaj Bharat, after he got the body of a deer. Krishna, he appears 500 years ago as the best devotee, the most Krishna conscious devotee, as our Guru Maharaj put it last night, in the mood of Srimati Radharani to give the highest perfection freely, and that is this Madhurya Leela. So these qualities, these activities of Krishna are attractive. They are attractive. And it lets us know that this is the source of our very being. This is our father. This is our mother. This is our maintainer. This is our shelter. This is our everything. He just wants to have a relationship with you. Yeah. So although we know in the spiritual, the material world, that yes, we actually like to come under the control of somebody else. We actually like it. So a father coming under the control of his daughter, a mother coming under the control of a son, a husband coming under the control of his wife. So we actually like it. Yeah, it's very nice, especially when it is based on truth. So Krishna, this quality of liking to come under the control of somebody who externally appears superior to you, Krishna also likes it. Yeah, he likes it. He likes actually being a son to Mother Yashoda. Yeah. So when you have so then Krishna creates a system that's also based on this principle, that let us all come under the control of persons whose life is just based on the truth. And not just any relative truth, but the absolute truth. Their whole livelihood, it's not based on anything else. Yeah, and so this is this system of Varnashram Dharma. And so once that foundation, canonical foundation, is established, that you have a society that's based on the absolute truth, And the custodians of the absolute truth, the brahmanas, those who guard the knowledge, their life is just molded around preserving and living according to the principles from the absolute truth. It's all based on that. Then everything else, government, system of taxation, system of the economy, distribution of commodities, then and also professional work. Everything just rotates very nicely and very smoothly. Yeah. And nobody has to endeavor. Everybody can go to bed on time. People won't have anxiety. Everybody can just sit down and hear at night. You can just sit down and hear about the absolute truth, his pastimes as Lord Ramachandra, as Sri Krishna, the pastimes of his devotees. Everybody's life can just be not based on the principle, I need more, I need more. There won't actually be scarcity. This mentality that if I don't continue to work more, then I'll lose. There won't be deflation. Deflation of, inflation, deflation of your assets and inflation of money, which actually creates the scarcity that I need to just keep working. When you have a society that's led by brahmanas and perfected brahmanas, brahmanas who've made themselves eligible to come to sannyas and are guiding everybody, then it's a very harmonious, peaceful, and wonderful society, not just for the humans, but for the ants, the trees, the oceans, the mountains, the rivers, the trees, everything is actually in a peaceful condition. So let us continue reading from the talks of Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. First of all, Srila Ramananda Rai enunciated the system of an ashram institution. He recited various verses about Karmarpana, stating that everything should be dedicated to the Lord. He then spoke of detached action, knowledge mixed with devotional service, and finally the spontaneous loving service of the Lord. After hearing Srila Ramananda Rai recite some verses, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the principle of pure devotional service, devoid of all kinds of speculation. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai to explain the higher platform of devotional service. Then Srila Ramananda Rai explained unalloyed devotional service, love of Godhead, and serving the Lord in the moods of pure servitude, fraternity, and parental love. Finally, he spoke of serving the Lord in conjugal love. He then spoke of how conjugal love can be developed in various ways. This conjugal love attains its highest perfection in Srimati Radharani's love for Krishna. He next described the position of Srimati Radharani and the transcendental mellows of love of God. Srila Ramananda Rai then recited a verse of his own concerning the platform of ecstatic vision, technically called Prema Vilas Vivarta. Srila Ramananda Rai also explained that all stages of conjugal love can be attained through the mercy of the residents of Vrindavan, especially by the mercy of the gopis. All these subject matters were thus vividly described. Gradually, Ramananda Rai could understand the position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his real form, Ramananda Rai fell unconscious. After some days, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai to retire from government service and come to Jagannath Puri. These descriptions of the meetings between Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are taken from the notebook of Swarup Damodar Goswami. So this is the purpose of Varnashram, is actually to understand pure unalloyed devotional service, devoid Yes, devoid of all designations, of all motivations, pure. And not only to understand it theoretically, but also to understand the person, the Supreme Personality who actually embodies this, and this is Srimati Radharani. So in a society, again, that is based on accepting people's position based on their quality, this is the opportunity that that becomes available to everybody. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his dealings with Ramananda Rai, is perfectly that. So, for example, when Ramananda Rai, in the following chapter, so this is chapter 8 of the Majjhila, in the following chapter, all the devotees meet Lord Chaitanya in Puri. Might not be the immediately following, it might be 11, I'm not sure. They all meet Lord Chaitanya in Puri. And so Ramananda Rai comes and he tells the Lord that he's now officially retired. And Lord Chaitanya is very happy about this. And he describes, yes, when I went to Maharaj Prataparudra and told him this, Maharaj, the king, was so happy to hear that one of his government servants had met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was very happy to actually not only give him immediate retirement, but retirement with no deduction. So in other words, sometimes we know if you retire early, then you won't get, your full Social Security benefit, for example. If you have an annuity, there might be a penalty. So there's different penalties, like all these financial instruments are built usually around the retirement age of a 65. And so if you retire early, then you don't get the benefit. But Maharaj Prataparudra, being a Brahmin, being a Brahmin king, he could immediately understand. He knew the position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was so attracted. At this point, he hadn't met the Lord. He was so eager to meet Lord Chaitanya. But just by hearing, then he actually did this. Yeah. And he just gave Ramananda Rai the ability to actually retire early. And then also in that same pastime, that same chapter, there's a description that Ishwara Puri, I don't know if it was Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, but he was asking, they were surprised that one of Ishwara Puri, two servants came and they wanted to take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And these were the disciples of Ishwara Puri. And Ishwara Puri told them, you should go take shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Govinda, he was born in a Shudra family. And so Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was asking, how is it that Ishwara Puri could actually accept him as a disciple, accept a Shudra as a disciple? And so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reiterated the point. And Prabhupada in the purport, he explains how or at least, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, reiterated the point that one is actually accepted on the basis of qualification and not on the basis of birth. And Prabhupada, he explains in the purport that the purificatory potency of a pure devotee, that when people go to the holy place, they offload their sinful activities. So generally, people go to a holy place to get purified. So when you bathe in the Ganga, not only when you bathe in the Ganga, you're actually purifying your subtle body of the karmic reactions. And then the river carries it away, right? So then now that load of contamination, who will remove it? And the people who remove it are the pure devotees of the Lord. They also go in and also bathe, but when they bathe, because they're pure in heart, they don't actually offload any karmic activity. They are kinchana, right? So everything is dedicated to the service of the Lord. They're performing akarma. So there's actually no reactions no material reactions to the activities. And so they actually purify. Yeah, so this is what they do. And so, yeah, so this is analogous to, and this example is given to substantiate the position of Ishwara Puri, that he could do this. He's an acharya, therefore he could do this. And so now everybody who's coming in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also demonstrates this example. And we know Prabhupada, he demonstrated it in a very superlative way when he established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He was able to accept everybody. It didn't matter. And what birth they came from. And he made everyone into brahmanas. And yes, and the devotees are still serving. Yeah, so their whole life is molded around the principle of the absolute truth. Yeah, so we are very blessed, that Prabhupada appeared in America, and from America, then he spread his entire movement, and this principle was actually spread everywhere, all around the world, that everybody is actually accepted on the basis of their qualifications. And even if one comes in outside of an ashram, like myself as well, coming from a background of eating cows and all sorts of abominable activities, still we have the opportunity to actually elevate, purify that karmic load, and elevate ourselves to the standard of serving the deities. Yeah, so this opportunity is available for everybody. So yeah, so dear devotees, today on this Wednesday, we should pray to Radha Damodar that just as he tells us, Damodar, he tells us in the Bhagavad Gita that whatever we do, whatever action we perform, whatever we eat, whatever we offer, we should do it as an offering to him. So if today can be based on this truth, based on our eternal relationship with the Lord, may today be illuminated by this absolute truth, that yes, my Lord, I have an individual relationship with you, a very loving one, and may all that I do today be an offering to you. And in this way, dear devotees, we will feel the happiness of our constitutional position. And you do it today, the whole day, and then you can do it tomorrow, and then you can do it. And then this weekend is coming up, the recharge retreat, and we can do it all weekend. And then after 5 days, we can do it for another 5 days. And in this way, we build a life based on the absolute truth. Are there any questions, reflections, or contentions?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Nagari Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna to you.
Hare Krishna to you, Prabhu.
Hey, you give a great class, and
Prabhu.
they keep getting better. I really enjoy hearing from you, and I'm disappointed that you've stopped. I wish you could continue. I can't think of a question. I'm very frustrated with myself. I'm trying to think of a way to perpetuate the flow of nectar here, but
No, I can perpetuate. I still have content. I just wanted to allow for discussion.
oh,
Yeah.
please share a little more nectar.
Okay. Okay, dear devotees, please interrupt me if you have a specific issue that you want to speak about. Now's the time. But I've been ordered by my preceptor and shelter of 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. every day, and that is Thakur Prabhu. So let us hear about chapter 10. So this is all the devotees meeting the Lord. The Lord's return to Jagannath Puri, and this point about how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya actually asked, how is it that Ishwara Puri accepted Govinda as a disciple? Okay, so while Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling in South India, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had many talks with King Prataparudra. When Maharaj Prataparudra requested the Bhattacharya to arrange an interview with the Lord, the Bhattacharya assured him that he would try to do so as soon as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned from South India. When the Lord returned to Jagannath Puri from his South Indian tour, he lived at the home of Kashi Mishra. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya introduced many Vaishnavas to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu after his return. The father of Ramananda Rai, Bhavananda Rai, offered another son named Vaninath Patanaika for the Lord's service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu informed his associates about the pollution of Krishnadas brought about by his association with the Bhattaharis, and thus the Lord proposed to give him leave. Nityananda Prabhu sent Krishnadas to Bengal to inform the Navadvip devotees about the Lord's return to Jagannath Puri. All the devotees of Navadvip thus began arranging to come to Jagannath Puri. At this time, Paramananda Puri was at Navadvip, and immediately upon hearing news of the Lord's return, he started for Jagannath Puri, accompanied by a Brahmana named Kamalakanta. Purushottama Bhattacharya, a resident of Navadvip, was educated at Varanasi. He accepted the renounced order from Chaitanyananda, but he took the name of Swarupa. Thus he arrived at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After the demise of Sri Ishwara Puri, his disciple Govinda, following his instructions, went to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Due to his relationship with Keshava Bharati, Brahmananda Bharati was also respectfully received by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he arrived at Jagannath Puri, he was advised to give up the deerskin clothing he wore. When Brahmananda understood Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu correctly, he accepted him as Krishna himself. However, when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya addressed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna, the Lord immediately protested. In the meantime, Kashishwar Goswami also came to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this chapter, devotees from many different areas come to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they are exactly like many rivers that come from many places to finally flow into the sea. Yes, so this chapter, dear devotees, is very instructive on this principle of Chaturvanyam Mayashishta. So that somebody is accepted based on their qualities. So we read here that, of Bhavananda Rai, so Ramananda Rai's father, he offered another son. Now, the birth of his sons were those of Shudras, right? But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted them. Yeah, so he accepted Ramananda Rai based on his qualities. And his quality was such that he was conversant, fluent in the science of Krishna. and in the science of the topmost devotee, Srimati Radharani. So he was fluent in how the Lord creates opportunities for perfection, Varnashrama Dharma, how the Lord is the source of all relationships, beginning with Dasya Ras, and culminating fully with Madhura Leela, and who is the topmost devotee and her qualities, physical characteristics. And so, because he described it so wonderfully, then the Lord actually, he manifested himself before him. And Ramananda Rai could see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could see Krishna. So he could see both Radha Krishna together and Radha Krishna separated. He could see that. So the absolute truth is not just theoretical. Yes, so the Lord was very happy to show this, show his real identity to Ramananda Rai. And then the opposite was true, was that Krishna Das, right? He was a servant that was recommended by, I think it's Lord Nityananda. So the Lord wanted to travel to South India alone, but then the devotees were protesting, and they say, no, who's going to carry your water pot? Just accept one servant. So he was eligible by birth, and also he was, yes, to serve a sannyasi, right? According to social custom. And then he became contaminated. He became attracted to the Bhattaharis, or the gypsies, and the Lord wanted to give him leave. So just the opposite of Ramananda Rai and his brother Vaninath Pattanayaka, right? Yeah. Similarly, again, yeah, Sri Ishwara Puri, Govinda, following his instructions, went to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as I described, there was a query into his social position, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained it. So maybe let's get into that a little more. Let's go to the verses. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat with all the devotees headed by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and they discussed the pastimes of Krishna. At that time, Govinda appeared on the scene, offered his respectful obeisances, and spoke submissively. I am the servant of Ishwara Puri. My name is Govinda, and following the orders of my spiritual master, I have come here. Just before his departure from this mortal world to attain the highest perfection, Ishwara Puri told me that I should go to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and render service unto him. Kashishvara will also come here after visiting all the holy places. However, following the orders of my spiritual master, I have hastily come to be present at your lotus feet. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, my spiritual master, Ishwara Puri, always favors me with paternal affection. Therefore, out of his causeless mercy, he has sent you here. After hearing this, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, why did Ishwara Puri keep a servant who comes from a Shudra family? So this is the question. Yes. Purport. Both Kashishvara and Govinda were personal servants of Ishwara Puri. After Ishwara Puri's demise, Kashishvara went to visit all the holy places of India. Following the orders of his spiritual master, Govinda immediately went to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for shelter. Govinda came from a Shudra family, but because he was initiated by Ishwara Puri, he was certainly a Brahmana. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya here asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu why Ishwara Puri accepted a disciple from a Shudra family. According to the Smriti Shastra, which gives directions for the management of the Varnashram institution, a Brahmana cannot accept a disciple from the lower castes. In other words, a Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra cannot be accepted as a servant. If a spiritual master accepts such a person, he is contaminated. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya therefore asked why Ishwara Puri accepted a servant or disciple born of a Shudra family. So, dear devotees, this is a testimony of how the Lord is actually the father of all living entities. If we think about our positions, how we've attained the opportunity to serve our spiritual masters, and our spiritual masters got the opportunities to serve Prabhupada, such a miracle wouldn't have taken place without the causeless mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And everybody who's appearing in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their mood is, I'm the servant of my spiritual master. And because the spiritual master is saying, I'm the servant of my spiritual master, in this way, it's the mood of servant of the servant. Now, we say it loosely, but here, it's like comment, right? In ISKCON parlance, right? I'm the servant of the servant. I am your servant after signing off emails, messages, YS, abbreviating it, right? So it's very common, part of our parlance. But what Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya here is saying is that to actually be the servant of the servant, to be a servant of your guru, it's actually a very elevated position. Just as the best servant is the topmost devotee, and is Srimati Radharani, right? Her position it's superlative. No one can come close. So elevated she is. And so that is the height of the statement, servant of the servant. It's actually a very elevated position, because when you're the servant of the servant, you can serve the Supreme Lord directly. And that's why Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is saying there's actually rules, there's social rules around this, because not everybody can just approach the king. Not everybody can approach a prime minister. You can't do so directly. You actually need qualification. To become a minister, a member of the cabinet of a president, you need to actually be highly qualified. That is just even on the secular level. What to speak of, to become a cabinet member of Indra, you have to be a demigod yourself. You need power. You actually need to be elevated. So a servant of the servant is even higher than Indra. Yeah. And even in the when Lord Nrsingadev appeared, servant of the servant was the one who he could actually calm the Lord down. Something that even the Adi Kavi, Lord Brahma couldn't do. He couldn't do it. He couldn't pacify the Lord. He couldn't say sweet words, prayers. The Lord was so angry. And yet, a 5-year-old boy who saw himself as the servant of the servant, he could actually do it. Why? Precisely because of what Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is hinting here. It's very elevated, dear devotees, to actually be a servant of, direct servant of the Lord through the mood of the servant of the servant. Yeah. But this opportunity is available to everyone. Yes. So I have a hard stop in 1 minute or so. I don't know if there's any closing thoughts.
Thank you, Prabhu. This narration was incredibly nectarian. Very, very nice. Great way to close out this chapter. Wonderful discussion of Varnashram and it's that my head actually is reeling with so many thoughts, thinking about my own spiritual master, how I was elevated by him from an extraordinarily lowly position, very, very horribly degraded. I won't even discuss. It does not bear repetition. But extraordinary, and to have the opportunity to be linked into the service of the Lord, the inner circle. It's such an extraordinary thing. People think that to be a servant is a lowly thing, but to be the servant of Krishna is a wonderful thing, and it's extraordinary, and it's the topmost position. People can't understand that are not actually engaged in devotional service, but it's such a nice thing, and it's wonderful that um, devotional service is transcendental to everything. It just doesn't matter where you've come from. It doesn't matter what, bodily designations mean nothing. There is no equality on the material platform, but spiritually, everyone is equal, and we all have the opportunity to connect with Krishna in the most wonderful and intimate way. The challenge is the limitless challenge to engage in service and to keep ourselves engaged in service and to intensify the service and perfect the service, and it goes on and on endlessly and only becomes more and more ecstatic. Wonderful thing. And as you advance in devotional service, your capacity to engage others in service also increases. A devotee can make devotees just by being seen. A devotee, just to be seen with Kantimala and Tilak is sufficient to transform the heart of fallen conditioned souls. That's a wonderful thing. Anyway, we have a great opportunity, and we should not squander it. We need to take full advantage of the opportunity to hear as much as possible and to render service to the greatest capacity. Never waste a moment in the service of Maya. Maya is always ready to accept our service and always encouraging us, but we should never fall victim. It's our choice. It's completely our choice. We have the freedom to choose. It's entirely up to us. We can serve Maya or we can serve Krishna and his servants. The opportunity to make that choice is in front of us all day, every day, 24 hours a day. It's always there. Every moment we can make the choice to go this way or that way. If we consistently choose devotional service, then everything becomes wonderful and we blossom. Everything expands and increases and unfolds in extraordinary and wonderful ways. It's an amazing thing. One simple switch that transforms everything. Very, very nice, but we have to become consistent. Not that we waver this way and that way. Sometimes I serve Krishna, sometimes I serve Maya. We have to gradually come to at least to have the desire to become consistent in devotional service. Then gradually, by endeavoring, we get Krishna's help, and we can actually come to the point at which we always choose Krishna and we never choose Maya. Krishna provides innumerable ways for us to keep ourselves engaged, and the service becomes very nectarian. It becomes so sweet that we can't bear to do otherwise. In the beginning of a devotee's attempt to render devotional service, they may struggle sometimes attracted by Maya, sometimes attracted to devotional service, or perhaps not even attracted to devotional service and just doing it out of an obligation or a hope. But there, by persistence, there comes a stage, sometimes very early on, when devotional service just becomes so nectarian that it just eclipses everything else, and you just don't want to do anything else. Devotees gradually, sooner or later, a devotee finds a particular service that really appeals to them, something that they lock onto, and it just consumes them, and then they have to struggle to regulate their the bodily aspects of their life, because they don't want to go to sleep. Like like a child doesn't want to go to bed. Um, Devotees don't want to go to sleep. They don't want to stop doing their service. They don't want to stop to eat. They don't want to stop to bathe. They don't want to stop to do anything. They just want to go on with their service without any interruptions. But there are things that have to be done. So you you have to be disciplined. But it happens. It happens for devotees that and it's not hard to come to a point at which you become more or less addicted to devotional service, and to the extent that there are always opportunities for sense gratification. You can exploit your bodily energies in all kinds of ways, and um, you have that opportunity, but a devotee doesn't want to do anything that will spoil the quality of his devotional service, um, or in any way diminish his capacity um, or his ability, and so he naturally avoids engagement in Maya's service because it detracts from his ability to render service nicely. Doesn't matter how attracted one may have been to activities of Maya, it just the attraction for devotional service overrides everything, and you forget about all of the mundane tastes. You just want to render service to the best of your capacity and endlessly improve, always polishing and improving more and more, trying to become more and more consistent. Um, anyway, we've run over time, and you have to go.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your contribution to this class, and thank you, dear devotees, for joining on and granting this opportunity to speak about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's loving pastimes. And just, Krishna's loving pastime of creating Varnashram, and how he grants us all the opportunity to become the servant of the servant. So let us revel in the mercy we've received from our individual spiritual masters. Revel in the mercy we've received from Srila Prabhupada and his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, all the way to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and indeed all the way to Krishna himself. Let today be a meditation of mercy. And in this way, we can continue to be inspired, encouraged, and enthused to be the servant of the servant. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanandi Haribol.